Expanding into a life of more abundance looks different for everyone, the type of abundance and the time required to achieve it. On today's minisode, I share a few key things that you can do at a foundational level to open yourself up to receive more abundance and to see it when it's before you. Hi, welcome to the Connect with Sheila podcast. I'm an entrepreneur, self-care strategist, and creator of the Season Self-Care app. I'm committed to helping you reconnect to your purpose, elevate your well-being, and build your version of a happy, successful life. You're listening to a Monday minisode where I share an insight designed to help you live into what lights you up this week. I've been focused more than ever on infusing more gratitude and joy into my life these days. Life can feel very heavy as we witness the diverse events happening around us, and we can miss the goodness that still exists in the everyday. So I just want to invite you into a brief moment of noticing what is working in your life, what makes you smile, who you love. And as you consider that, know that there's more where that came from. I've been on a journey of intentional expansion over the last few years since starting this podcast, opening more and more to leading others into the notion of what really a life of more pleasure and abundance can look like. And I've experimented with several things that have been key supports in this work, and I really want to share them here with you today. The first one, which seems, like something I talk about all the time, but it really is at the root of my own abundance journey and my self-care, are my soul walks. Steeping in nature and tuning into what my heart most desires. I first stepped into this with a lot more intentionality from the soul perspective when my sister was in the hospital. And when she was very near the end of her life, those times out in nature were really life-giving for me in order to fill me up, to be able to be there for her and to be there for my family. And in those times, early morning very often, where I'd be walking along the river, not far from where I'd be spending the day with her, the trees, the water, the fresh air, it just all came into my being and helped me realize that right now, what is before me, there was so much more to it. And no matter what the outcome was, there was more. Even after she passed away, I really had this sense that, life goes on. I've felt this way for a long time, like even beyond the grave, life goes on. And so being in nature really helps me with that. And so how does this fit into abundance? I feel like when we are steeping in nature, we look around us and we see the life cycle and we see really what is around us outside of these little screens that we find ourselves in. We're reminded that there is so much vast abundance and resources around us. And so then it becomes like, how do we start sharing that? How do we help those who maybe don't have the abundance, right? So that's another conversation. It's something very important to think of. So the second step that directly butts up against that one is getting clear on your vision and recording it. What do I mean by that? Really thinking about what is an ideal day in your life? What is it that you really want to experience during this spin around the sun that you have, this one time in this embodiment of you? And when you sit down and you really think about what that is, what I did was I wrote it down. And it was a clear picture in the present moment of what I wanted. And then I actually recorded it. I put some music behind it. And it really encapsulated what my next vision for my life is. The third thing I did was I meditated on that very vision daily. So starting my day, listening to it, eyes closed, in the dark or on a walk or whatever I chose, hearing it in my voice, repeating over and over each day what that vision was. It made it present of mind. And especially first thing in the morning where like the veil is really thin and our mind has a lot of different ways it could go. We could just really start to ramp up and get anxious about the day ahead, hopefully excited about the day ahead. But let's face it, often, depending on what we put in first thing in the morning, it can really impact where we head during the day. And so meditating on your vision becomes so important because you're going to be facing things being tossed at you all day long. And so if you can stay clear on your vision, you're actually going to be more likely to step into those actions that are going to help take you to that vision. The fourth thing I did, and this was really something I never thought to do personally, but because of the beautiful community I was in Origin for so many years, like 6 years, I started practicing nervous system support on a regular basis. And I learned about what that was, and I went into some specific meditations totally directed to the nervous system. And I also started to lean into very simple daily moment-by-moment practices that help me support my nervous system to release old patterns, to release old stories that maybe were held in my body that were holding me back as well. The fifth thing I did was I received the download to record my 40 Days of Abundance guided meditation series. I had been reading a lot of different things from different sources about abundance, hearing people talk about it. And so I started to just say, well, 40 days, like it's such a powerful amount of time to really lock in a habit when you're intentional. And so I thought, well, what kind of abundant thoughts could I have each day? And so I went through this process, and I was reading a number of different things at the time. And as I read them, I then set them aside each day, and I thought, okay, what is coming through for me? And what came through for me is what I ended up recording. And so I recorded that, my kind of the information that was downloaded, and then some mantras that are repetitive in this guided meditation series. And so I've been doing that every day for the last 2.5 years, and each of these things. And it's been so incredible to see the results in my personal and professional life, my habits, my self-awareness, my connection with others, and my overall enjoyment of the process of achieving my goals. And what has also come up, and this is a caveat here, you can be something that while you're in the midst of all of these things, you can feel like maybe you want to stop. Remember I said self-awareness? I started to become aware of the areas I wasn't really pleased with myself, the way I wasn't showing up as I wanted to. That was kind of a tough pill to swallow. And yet that self-awareness, once we have the awareness, hopefully we want to shift the way we're doing things. I started to find myself wanting to listen more, wanting to really look at myself in the mirror about certain areas that I needed to clean up in my life, in my relationships. So it's really powerful. It doesn't feel good all the time. But the good thing is when you're making the moves in the right direction, you get to feel good more often. So I highly recommend it. And you heard me mention that there's a program that I've been involved in since May called Relaxed Money, where I've been going even more deeply into nervous system healing related to healing old money stories that don't serve me and welcoming in more abundance. Doors to the transformational program are open now until October 26th, and I invite you to go inside and join me. So you can go to the link at the show notes for the details. And if you choose to join there, you'll receive a 1-hour self-care strategy session with me and my recorded 40 Days of Abundance guided meditation series. This is a $400 value for all of this for free. Now imagine how good your life can get and how much more impact you can make when you're not worrying about your finances or letting money control your outlook on life. It is possible for you. Thank you for listening. If you got something valuable from this episode, please tag me on the socials because I love to shout out the messages that you tag me in. It means the world to me that you listen to these episodes. And so rating, reviewing, sharing, it really helps elevate it on the platform so more people can hear this message of really going for your version of a life of more, shedding some of those old stories that are holding you back, and really just getting encouraged. I appreciate you. Have a beautiful rest of your week. Big blessings.